The grand chamber of the Galactic Council stretched wider than any stadium on Earth. 200 species filled the massive space, their forms ranging from crystalline beings that floated in containment fields to massive creatures that needed special platforms to support their weight. Ambassador Jiwoo Park stood at the center speaking platform, her small human form barely visible among the assembled representatives. She had been speaking for 20 minutes about Earth and humanity's achievements. Most of the council members were not listening. Some reviewed data on their devices. Others talked quietly among themselves. A few appeared to be sleeping, though it was hard to tell with alien biology. Park finished her presentation and waited. The council's senior members would now ask questions and decide if humanity deserved membership. She kept her expression calm and professional, even though she could feel the dismissive attitude in the room. Councillor Vrex spoke first. He was a Talvian, tall and thin with blue skin and 4 arms. His species had been part of the council for 3,000 years. He looked at Park with something that might have been amusement. Ambassador Park, your presentation mentions that humanity only achieved faster than light travel 20 years ago. Is that correct? Vrex asked. Yes, Counselor. 23 years ago, to be precise, Park replied. Vrex made a sound that his translator rendered as laughter. And before that, you fought wars against each other using chemical rockets and atomic weapons? We had conflicts, yes. We have since unified our world government, Park said carefully. Conflicts, Vrex repeated. How charming. Tell me, Ambassador, what does humanity think it can offer this council? What makes you different from the dozens of other primitive species who apply for membership each year? Park felt a flash of anger but kept her voice steady. Humanity has extensive experience in complex problem solving, resource management, and strategic planning. We believe we can contribute significantly to council operations. Another council member spoke up, a floating jellyfish-like being whose name Park could not pronounce. Your military history is quite violent. Thousands of wars over your recorded history. Do you think such an aggressive species belongs in a peaceful community? Our history has taught us the value of peace, Park answered. We understand the cost of conflict better than most. Vrex waved a hand dismissively.
Yes.
Everyone says that. Very well. The council will vote on provisional membership. You will be assigned a small territory in Sector 7. It is mostly empty space, but suitable for your colonization efforts. Consider it a test to see if you can function in galactic society. The vote happened quickly. Humanity was granted provisional membership with barely any discussion. Park thanked the council graciously and left the chamber. As she walked through the corridors of the massive station, she contacted Admiral Tae-ho Kim on Earth. The Admiral's face appeared on her secure communicator. He was in his 60s with gray hair and sharp eyes that missed nothing. How did it go? He asked. As expected, Park replied. They think we are harmless, primitive, not worth their attention. Good, Kim said flatly. That gives us time to establish our colonies and build infrastructure. Have they assigned us territory? Sector 7. They consider it worthless space. Kim smiled slightly. Worthless to them, perhaps. Our survey teams found 3 habitable planets and significant mineral resources. We can work with this. I will begin moving our colony ships into position. Admiral, they asked about our military history. They seem to think our past conflicts make us violent and unstable. What did you tell them? Kim asked. That we learned the value of peace. Kim nodded slowly. That is true. We did learn. We learned that peace must be protected, and that those who threaten it must be stopped completely. Did they understand that part? No, Admiral. They did not. Then let us hope they never need to learn it the hard way, Kim said and ended the transmission. Over the next 6 months, humanity established 3 colony worlds in Sector 7. The planets were named New Boston, Harmony and Unity. Thousands of colonists arrived on massive transport ships. They built cities, farms, and mining operations. The work was hard, but the colonists were determined to make these new worlds their homes. The colonies grew quietly. Humanity kept a low profile in galactic affairs. Ambassador Park attended council sessions but rarely spoke. She filed the required reports and followed all regulations. To the galaxy, humans seemed like just another new species trying to find their place. But not everyone ignored the human colonies. The Draxian Empire had been watching Sector 7 with interest. The Draxians were known throughout the galaxy as aggressive and expansionist. They had built their empire through intimidation, and limited military actions. When other species resisted, the Draxians would attack just enough to make their point, then negotiate favorable terms. Empress Kala ruled the Draxian Empire from her throne world. She was ambitious and saw opportunity in human weakness. The Council had given humans worthless space, but her analysts reported that 3 human colonies were thriving. Those worlds could be valuable additions to her empire. She summoned High Commander Zeph to her throne room. Zeph was her most experienced military leader, a veteran of 30 border conflicts. He bowed before his empress. "The humans have established colonies in what should be our space," Kala said. "I want you to convince them to leave. Use standard procedures. Destroy some cargo ships, threaten their outer settlements. They will run to the Council for protection. The Council will do nothing as usual. Then we can negotiate their withdrawal and claim those worlds." Zeph nodded. "It will be done, my empress." "How many ships should I take?" 20 should be more than enough. These humans are new to space. They will not resist seriously. Make it quick and clean." 2 weeks later, Zeph's fleet emerged from faster-than-light travel at the edge of human space. 20 Draxian warships appeared on human sensors like ghosts materializing from nothing. They were sleek vessels built for speed and intimidation rather than prolonged combat. On Earth, in the Defense Command Center, alarms began to sound. Admiral Kim was in his office when his aide rushed in. "Admiral, we have multiple contacts entering Sector 7. 20 ships, Draxian configuration." Kim stood immediately. "Battle stations. Get me a direct line to the Vigilant, and contact Ambassador Park. Tell her to file an immediate complaint with the Council." Minutes later, Kim was on the bridge of his flagship, the Vigilant. The ship was in orbit around Earth, but her sensors could track events in Sector 7 in real time through a network of relay stations. Captain Dae-Sung Choi stood from the command chair as Kim entered. "Admiral on the bridge," he announced. "Status," Kim ordered. "The Draxian fleet is broadcasting on all frequencies. Standard intimidation protocols. They are demanding we withdraw from 3 colonies within 72 hours or face military action," Choi reported. Kim studied the tactical display showing the positions of all ships in the sector. The Draxian vessels were moving in standard patrol patterns, confident and unhurried. "Send them the standard warnings as required by Council protocol," Kim said calmly. "Inform them they are in violation of territorial sovereignty. Request immediate withdrawal. Copy all transmissions to the Council." "Yes, sir." "And our fleet?" Choi asked. Kim's expression became hard as stone. "Prepare all ships for immediate deployment. Activate reserve units. Recall all personnel to duty stations. I want every combat-ready vessel fueled, armed, and ready to jump within 24 hours. Sir, that is more than 100 ships. Are we expecting a major engagement?" "Captain Choi, the Draxians have threatened human lives and human territory. If they do not withdraw, we will respond. And when humanity responds to aggression, we do not do it halfway. Prepare the fleet." "That is an order." Choi saluted sharply. "Yes, Admiral." Preparing for fleet deployment. As the bridge crew began executing orders with practiced efficiency, Kim stood motionless, watching the tactical display. The Draxians thought they were dealing with frightened colonists who would run to the Council for help. They thought this would be easy. They had made a terrible mistake. Humanity had spent 10,000 years learning how to wage war. And the most important lesson they had learned was this: if you must fight, you fight to win completely. No half measures. No mercy for those who threaten the innocent. Total victory or nothing at all. The Draxians were about to learn what it meant to threaten humanity. And the galaxy was about to learn why Earth's bloody history had created the most dangerous warriors the stars had ever seen. High Commander Zeph stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching the human colonies on his display screens. 3 days had passed since his fleet arrived in Sector 7. The humans had sent formal protests and legal complaints, exactly as expected. Now it was time to apply more pressure. "Target the cargo transport leaving Unity Colony," he ordered. "Disable it with a warning shot. Let them see we are serious." His weapons officer fired. A bright beam of energy crossed the space between the Draxian warship and the human cargo vessel. The shot deliberately missed, passing just ahead of the transport's bow. The human ship immediately changed course and fled back toward the colony. Zeph nodded with satisfaction. "Good. Now destroy the automated mining station at coordinate 742. Make sure no one is aboard first." The mining station exploded in a brilliant flash. It had been empty, as their scans confirmed. This was standard procedure for the Draxian Empire. Destroy property, frighten colonists, avoid actual casualties if possible. Make the target species run to the Council for help. When the Council did nothing, negotiate from a position of strength. But something was wrong. Zeph noticed it after the first week. The humans were not panicking. Their ships maintained regular schedules. Their colonies continued normal operations. And strangest of all, human warships began appearing throughout the sector. They did not engage the Draxians. They simply watched, following at a distance, their sensors constantly scanning. "Sir, we have identified 12 human military vessels in the sector," his intelligence officer reported. "They are maintaining surveillance of our fleet." 12 ships, Zeph repeated. "We have 20. Are they planning to attack?" "No, sir. They maintain safe distances and do not target us. They are just watching." Zeph frowned. This was unusual behavior. Most species either fled or immediately requested council mediation. The humans were doing neither. They were studying his forces like scientists examining insects. Meanwhile, at the Galactic Council Station, Ambassador Park stood before the assembled representatives once again. This time they were paying attention. A formal complaint against a council member's military actions required a hearing. "The Draxian Empire has violated human territorial sovereignty," Park stated clearly. "They have destroyed civilian property and threatened our colonists. We request immediate council intervention and Draxian withdrawal." Councillor Vrex looked bored. "Ambassador, the council takes such complaints seriously. However, these matters require time to investigate. We must hear testimony from all parties. A committee will be formed to review the situation." "How long will this committee take?" Park asked. "These processes typically require several months. Perhaps a year." "A year?" Park repeated slowly. "Councillor Vrex, the Draxians are threatening my people right now, today. We need action now, not in a year." Vrex spread his forearms in a gesture that might have been sympathy. "Ambassador, new members must understand that the Council values peaceful resolution. Perhaps humanity should consider relocating your colonies to avoid this conflict. Sector 7 is not worth fighting over." Park's expression remained calm, but her voice became cold. "Are you suggesting that council treaties mean nothing? That any aggressive species can simply take what they want from newer members?" "I am suggesting that patience and wisdom are more valuable than pride," Vrex replied. "I see. Thank you for clarifying the council's position, Councillor." Park's tone was perfectly polite, but something in her eyes made Vrex slightly uncomfortable. She bowed formally and left the chamber. As soon as Park reached her private office, she contacted Admiral Kim on a secure channel. "The council will not help," she reported. "They suggest we relocate our colonies to avoid conflict." Kim's face on the screen showed no emotion. "So the council treaties are worthless." Noted. "What about the Draxians?" "Their harassment continues. So far, they have avoided causing casualties, but that may change." "It will change," Kim said quietly. "Empress Kala grows impatient. Our intelligence indicates she will order a strike on one of our colonies within 48 hours. A demonstration to force us into negotiations." "Can we evacuate?" Park asked. "We could. But Ambassador, if we run now, we will always be running. Every aggressive species in the galaxy will know that humans can be pushed around. Our people will never be safe." Park nodded slowly. "What are you planning, Admiral?" "We are preparing a response. If the Draxians attack our people, we will show them what human military doctrine really means. Continue documenting everything for the Council records. When this is over, we will need proof that we followed every protocol before taking action." 2 days later, Empress Kala's patience ran out. She ordered High Commander Zeph to conduct a raid on Harmony Colony. The goal was to strike military targets, make noise, and frighten the colonists. Standard intimidation tactics that had worked hundreds of times before. Zeph's ships descended on Harmony in the early morning hours. They targeted what their scans identified as military installations. Energy weapons lit up the sky. Explosions rocked the colony. The attack lasted only 20 minutes before Zeph ordered withdrawal. It should have been a clean operation, But one targeting calculation was wrong. A Draxian missile struck a civilian residential building. 17 people died instantly. 40 more were injured. Among the dead were children. The news reached Admiral Kim within minutes. He was in a conference room with his senior commanders planning defensive operations. An aide rushed in and whispered in his ear. Kim's face became absolutely still. He stood slowly. Casualty report from Harmony. 17 civilian deaths. 40 injured. Multiple families destroyed. Kim said quietly. The room fell silent. Captain Choi spoke carefully. Admiral, was it deliberate? Does it matter? They attacked us. Our people are dead. Colonel Lee, what is the status of Operation Righteous Fury? Colonel Hyojin Lee checked her datapad. All units are ready, Admiral. Assault carriers are fueled and loaded. Ground forces are prepared. We can launch within 6 hours. Director Han, intelligence assessment. Kim ordered. Director Young-Soo Han pulled up a holographic display showing the entire Draxian Empire. We have complete intelligence on all Draxian military installations, ship positions, base locations, supply lines, command centers, everything. We have been gathering this data since first contact. Excellent. Captain Choi, what is our fleet? Strength? 147 combat-ready vessels, Admiral, plus support ships. We outnumber the Draxians 7-1. Kim looked at each of his commanders in turn. These were men and women he had served with for decades. They had fought together in the colony wars. They understood what he was about to order. Contact Earth government. Request authorization codes for unrestricted military response. Then contact Ambassador Park and tell her to prepare detailed documentation of everything that led to this moment. The Council will ask questions later. We need answers ready. The authorization came through in less than an hour. Earth's government understood what was at stake. If humanity showed weakness now, they would be targets forever. The decision was unanimous. Admiral Kim stood on the bridge of the Vigilant as the final preparations were completed. He opened a fleet-wide communication channel. This is Admiral Kim to all human forces. The Draxian Empire has attacked our civilians. 17 of our people are dead. We requested council intervention and were ignored. We issued warnings and were mocked. Now we will respond. He paused, letting his words sink in. We do not fight for territory. We do not fight for pride. We fight to protect our people. And when we fight to win. Operation Righteous Fury is now active. Rules of engagement are unrestricted warfare. Target all Draxian military capabilities. Avoid civilian casualties where possible, but mission completion is priority 1. Make sure the Draxians understand this lesson. Humanity does not negotiate with aggressors. We end them. Throughout human space, ships began jumping to faster than light speed. 147 warships vanished from Earth's system, bound for Draxian territory. They emerged at coordinates carefully calculated for maximum strategic impact. High Commander Zeph had been planning his next intimidation move when his sensors started screaming alerts. Human ships appeared everywhere, above his fleet, behind his fleet, at every Draxian military installation within 3 systems. They were not in defensive positions. They were in attack formations. Zeph stared at his tactical display in disbelief. How many? He whispered. Over 100 contacts, sir. They are everywhere. Above the Draxian border fortress, Captain Choi sat in the command chair of his strike carrier Indomitable. Surrounding him were 20 other human warships. Below them, the fortress scrambled to raise shields. Choi opened a targeting channel. All ships, this is Choi. Weapons free. Execute attack pattern Delta. Show them what humanity has learned from 10,000 years of war. The human fleet opened fire, and the galaxy learned a terrible lesson about what happens when you threaten humanity. The Draxian border fortress had stood for 200 years. Its shields could withstand sustained bombardment from any known weapon system. Its defensive batteries could destroy entire fleets. Commanders throughout the Empire considered it impregnable. It lasted 14 minutes against the human attack. Captain Choi watched from the Indomitable's bridge as his ships executed their attack. pattern with perfect coordination. The humans did not waste time testing the fortress defenses. They did not probe for weaknesses. They simply hit it with everything at once. 20 warships fired simultaneously. The fortress shields flared bright blue, absorbing the energy. But human weapons kept firing without pause. The shields began to flicker. 30 seconds later, they collapsed completely. The fortress's defensive batteries tried to return fire, but human point defense systems destroyed incoming shots before they could connect. Target the command center, Choi ordered calmly. Secondary targets are power generation and communications. Missiles streaked through space. Precision strikes took out critical systems. The fortress went dark. Emergency power failed. Within minutes, the massive station was just a dead hulk floating in space. Escape pods launched carrying survivors, and the human ships let them go. They had no interest in killing helpless people. They wanted to destroy military capability. Fortress neutralized, Choi reported on the Fleet Command channel. Moving to secondary targets. No human casualties. Similar scenes played out across Draxian space. Human forces struck with shocking speed and coordination. They bypassed defended positions that were not immediate threats and struck directly at infrastructure. Shipyards erupted in flames. Ammunition depots detonated. Fuel refineries burned. Manufacturing facilities went offline. High Commander Zeph tried desperately to organize a defense. He gathered his scattered fleet and moved to protect the Draxian homeworld. But when his ships arrived, they found human forces already there, holding position outside the defense perimeter. Zeph stared at the tactical display showing 30 human warships in perfect formation. He opened a communication channel. Human Commander, this is High Commander Zeph of the Draxian Empire. We request immediate ceasefire to discuss terms. The only response was a targeting laser locking onto his communication arrays. The laser did not fire, but the message was clear. Humans did not negotiate during combat operations. Sir, they are not responding to any hails, his communications officer reported nervously. They are not here to talk, Zeph said quietly. They are here to make sure we cannot threaten them again. All ships, defensive positions. Protect the homeworld at all costs. But the human ships did not attack the planet. They maintained their positions, weapons trained on Zeph's fleet. After 6 hours of tense standoff, Zeph understood. The humans were not going to attack the homeworld. They were making sure his fleet could not interfere with operations elsewhere. Admiral Kim coordinated the entire operation from the Vigilant. Holographic displays showed every theater of combat across 4 star systems. His ships reported in with brutal efficiency. Target destroyed. Mission complete. No casualties. Next target engaged. Director Han stood beside him, monitoring intelligence feeds. Admiral, Draxian military communications are in chaos. They are trying to recall forces from their border regions. But we have destroyed most of their faster-than-light relay stations. Their fleets cannot coordinate. Good. What is the status of their industrial capacity? 70% of military shipyards destroyed or disabled. 90% of ammunition production offline. Their ability to sustain military operations is effectively zero. Kim nodded. And civilian casualties? Minimal. Colonel Lee's ground teams reported 16 civilian deaths from collateral damage. All accidental. We are providing medical assistance to wounded civilians as per protocol. 16 deaths on their side compared to 17 on ours. Kim said softly. This is not revenge. This is making sure they can never do this again. Colonel Lee's assault forces had landed on 3 Draxian military bases. Her orders were clear. Destroy military installations, avoid civilian areas, leave occupation forces to secure the sites. Her soldiers executed with surgical precision. They knocked out base defenses, demolished weapons storage, and destroyed command facilities. Then they withdrew, leaving the bases as smoking ruins. One of her battalion commanders contacted her after securing a target. Colonel, the base commander is requesting to surrender. What should we do with prisoners? Accept their surrender. Provide medical care for wounded. Then move to the next target. We are not here to occupy. We are here to eliminate threats. At the Galactic Council Station, representatives watched the human military operation unfold on long-range sensors. The chamber was silent except for the quiet beeping of tactical displays. What they were witnessing defied everything they knew about warfare. Modern galactic warfare was ritualized. Fleets positioned themselves, exchanged fire until one side requested mediation. Then negotiations began. Wars lasted years and resulted in adjusted borders or trade agreements. Actual destruction was minimal. Casualties were light, but humans fought differently. They targeted everything that sustained enemy military power. They showed no interest in negotiation until their objectives were complete. They coordinated operations across multiple star systems with terrifying efficiency, and they did it all in less than 3 weeks. Counselor Vrex stared at the displays with wide eyes. This cannot be real. No species fights like this anymore, not for thousands of years. Ambassador Park sat calmly in the human section. Another counselor turned to her. Ambassador, will your forces stop? The Draxian military is already defeated. When the threat is eliminated, operations will cease, Park replied evenly. The threat is eliminated. Their fleet is scattered. Their defenses are destroyed. Their ability to build new ships remains. Their industrial capacity to manufacture weapons continues. Admiral Kim is thorough. He will ensure they cannot threaten human lives again. Vrex found his voice. Ambassador Park, this is excessive. The proportional response to their raid on your colony would be a similar raid on theirs, not this wholesale destruction of military infrastructure. Park turned to look at him directly. Counselor, humanity does not believe in proportional response. We believe in permanent solutions. The Draxians killed our civilians. They threatened our colonies. If we respond proportionally, they will rebuild and attack again in 5 years or 10 years or 20 years. We choose instead to ensure they cannot attack at all. That is barbaric, another counselor protested. No, Park said firmly. Barbaric was attacking civilians. Barbaric was your council doing nothing when we requested help. What you see now is human military doctrine. We warned the Draxians. We followed every protocol. We gave them every opportunity to withdraw. They chose violence. Now they learn the price. The chamber fell silent again. On the tactical displays, human forces continued their methodical destruction of Draxian military capability. It was not angry or vengeful. It was systematic, efficient, and absolutely unstoppable. Director Han had been preparing for this moment since humanity first encountered the Draxian Empire. His intelligence services had mapped every military installation, identified every supply chain, and analyzed every command structure. When Admiral Kim gave the order to strike, Han's people knew exactly where to hit and how hard. This is what intelligence warfare means, he explained to his staff as they monitored operations. We spent months gathering information while the Draxians assumed we were weak and frightened. They never suspected we were planning their defeat in detail. Knowledge is the deadliest weapon. 21 days after the human attack began, Admiral Kim sent a message to all Draxian forces and broadcast it to the entire galaxy. His face appeared on millions of screens. His voice was calm and firm. To the Draxian Empire and all who are watching, human military operations are now complete. Draxian capability to wage offensive warfare has been eliminated. Their shipyards are destroyed. Their weapons manufacturing is offline. Their military bases are neutralized. They retain only defensive forces sufficient to protect against pirates and criminals. Kim paused, letting that sink in. The Draxian Empire is forbidden from rebuilding military forces beyond system defense requirements. Human forces will monitor compliance. Any attempt to violate these terms will result in immediate action. We take no pleasure in this. We wanted peace. They chose war. This is the result. Let this be a lesson to the galaxy. Humanity seeks cooperation and friendship. We will trade fairly, share knowledge, and work together for common good. But we will not be threatened. We will not be intimidated. And we will not tolerate attacks on our people. Choose peace with humanity and we will be your most loyal allies. Choose violence and you will learn what it means to fight a species that has spent 10,000 years perfecting the art of war. The transmission ended. The galaxy sat in stunned silence. Humanity had demonstrated total victory through complete annihilation of enemy capability. And they had done it in 3 weeks. The Draxian Empire, once feared for their aggression, was now powerless. Their military was gone. Their ability to threaten anyone was destroyed. In the council chamber, no one spoke. They finally understood what Ambassador Park had tried to tell them. Humans were not weak. The Galactic Council convened an emergency session 3 days after Admiral Kim's broadcast. Every representative attended. No one wanted to miss this. The chamber buzzed with nervous conversation as species discussed what they had witnessed. Some were frightened. Others were outraged. All were trying to understand what humanity's display of power meant for the galaxy. Ambassador Park entered the chamber and walked to the human section. The talking stopped. 200 pairs of eyes followed her. She sat down calmly, arranged her data pad, and waited. She appeared completely relaxed, as if she attended emergency sessions about human military actions every day. Counselor Vrex called the session to order. His voice was not as confident as usual. This council has convened to address the recent military actions undertaken by humanity against the Draxian Empire. Ambassador Park, the council requests your explanation for the excessive use of force. Park stood smoothly. Excessive, Counselor Vrex? I disagree with that characterization. Let me present the facts. She activated a holographic display showing a timeline. 3 months ago, Draxian forces entered human territory without authorization. We filed formal complaints with this council. No action was taken. The Draxians destroyed civilian property and threatened our colonies. We requested immediate intervention. The council suggested we relocate to avoid conflict. Then Draxian forces attacked Harmony Colony. 17 civilians died, including children. We had followed every council protocol. We had exhausted all diplomatic options. The council treaties promised protection to member species. That protection did not come. So humanity defended itself. A reptilian counselor spoke up angrily. You destroyed their entire military infrastructure. That goes far beyond self-defense. Park turned to face the speaker. Does it? Show me the council regulation that limits the scale of defensive response. Show me the law that says we must use proportional force. Show me any treaty requirement that humanity violated. The chamber was silent. Director Han had made sure that every human action was technically within council law. The council had simply never imagined anyone would interpret their treaties this way. Park continued, her voice firm. The council regulations state that member species have the right to defend their territory and citizens. They do not specify how. Humanity chose to defend ourselves effectively. We ensured the Draxian Empire cannot threaten us again. If the council wanted to prevent this, you should have acted when we asked for help. Vrex shifted uncomfortably. Ambassador, we understand your frustration with the council's processes. But surely you see that your actions have frightened many species. There are concerns about human aggression. Concerned about human aggression? Park's tone turned cold. Humanity was attacked. We defended ourselves. If that frightened species who were planning to threaten us, then perhaps fear is the appropriate response. But let me be absolutely clear. Humanity has no interest in conquest. We want to build our civilization in peace. We will trade fairly. We will honor treaties. We will be good neighbors. She paused and looked around the chamber. But we will never again rely on this council for protection. We will maintain sufficient military forces to defend ourselves, and any species that attacks human citizens will face the same response the Draxians did. Total, permanent, defeat. The silence in the chamber was absolute. Ambassador Park had just announced that humanity would not disarm, that they would remain a major military power, and there was nothing the council could do about it because technically, humanity had broken no laws. Director Han stood and requested permission to speak. Vrex nodded weakly. Director Han of Human Intelligence Services. Thank you, Counselor. I want to address concerns about human military capabilities. Many of you are wondering how humanity could mobilize such forces. The answer is simple. We have always had these capabilities. We built our fleet before joining the Council. We established intelligence networks from first contact. We prepared for the possibility that the galaxy might not be as peaceful as advertised. Han pulled up another display. This is documentation of every step humanity took. Every warning we issued. Every protocol we followed. Every request for Council intervention that was ignored. We did everything right. The Draxians did everything wrong. The result was inevitable. A bird-like counselor spoke nervously. But Director, how many ships does humanity actually possess? Your fleet strength is far greater than anyone suspected. Han smiled slightly. Enough. That is all any potential aggressor needs to know. Humanity has enough ships to defend our interests and protect our allies. Beyond that, the exact numbers are classified. The next speaker was unexpected. Empress Kala of the Draxian Empire appeared on a communication screen. She looked smaller somehow, diminished. Her pride was gone, replaced by bitter resignation. This council requires that the Draxian Empire formally address this situation, Vrex said. Kala spoke slowly. The Draxian Empire accepts full responsibility for initiating hostilities against humanity. We acknowledge our defeat. We accept the terms imposed by Admiral Kim. Our military forces are disbanded. We will not rebuild offensive capabilities. We request only that human occupation forces eventually withdraw. Ambassador Park responded. Human peacekeeping forces will remain in Draxian space until we are satisfied that your empire poses no threat to anyone. This may take years. During this time, we will help rebuild your civilian economy and infrastructure. But your military capability is permanently reduced. Learn to live in peace, Empress Kala. It is better than the alternative. Kala's expression was bitter, but she nodded. I understand. Her screen went dark. Rex looked shaken. Ambassador Park, the council must ask, what does humanity want from us now? Park considered the question carefully. Councillor Vrex, humanity wants what we have always wanted. We want to be treated as equals. We want our territorial rights respected. We want council treaties to mean something. Most of all, we want peace. But we want peace backed by strength, not by hope and good intentions. We propose that the council reform its conflict resolution processes. Make them faster. Make them effective. Establish real consequences for aggression. If you do this, smaller species will not need to maintain massive militaries for self-defense. They can trust the council to protect them. Is that not worth doing? Several councillors nodded. They could see the logic. The council's bureaucracy had failed humanity. If it had acted quickly, the war might have been prevented. Reform was needed. A wise old councillor from a peaceful species spoke thoughtfully. Ambassador Park, you say humanity learned the value of peace from your violent history. Help us understand. How does experiencing so much war lead to valuing peace? Park's expression softened slightly. Because we know the true cost. Earth's history is full of wars. Millions died. Cities burned. Families were destroyed. We learned that war is not glorious. It is terrible. We learned that pride and territory are not worth the lives of our children. We unified our world because we were tired of fighting. But we also learned that peace cannot survive on good intentions alone. Aggressors exist. Species that see kindness as weakness. The only way to protect peace is to be so strong that no one dares threaten it. That is what humanity offers this galaxy. We will be your friends and we will be powerful enough that threatening us is suicide. Choose friendship. It is so much better than the alternative. The council debated for hours. Some species wanted to censure humanity. Others wanted to thank them for exposing weaknesses in council processes. Eventually, they reached a compromise. Humanity would receive full council membership immediately. In exchange, humans would participate in reforming military intervention protocols. The vote was called. Humanity was granted full membership status with unprecedented speed. Everyone understood this was motivated by fear as much as respect. No one wanted to say it out loud, but the entire galaxy now knew. Do not threaten humanity. As Ambassador Park left the chamber, Councillor Vrex approached her privately. His forearms moved nervously. For the first time, he looked at her with something like respect. Ambassador, I owe you an apology. When you first came to this council, I dismissed humanity as primitive and weak. I was wrong. Park studied him. Yes, you were wrong. But you are not alone. The entire council made that mistake. We hope you learn from it. What will humanity do now? Vrex asked quietly. Park smiled slightly. We will continue building our civilization. We will expand our colonies. We will trade and share knowledge. We will make friends and allies. And we will maintain a fleet strong enough that no one ever makes the Draxian mistake again. Is that a threat, Ambassador? No, Counselor. It is a promise. Humanity fights to win, but we prefer not to fight at all. Work with us to make the galaxy safer for everyone, and we will be your most valuable allies. Continue to ignore aggression and injustice, and more species will follow our example. The choice is yours, Vrex nodded slowly. He finally understood. Humanity was not the problem. Humanity was the solution. Their demonstration of power had exposed the Council's weaknesses. Now the galaxy had a choice: reform and become stronger, or continue with comfortable illusions until the next crisis. Ambassador Park walked away, leaving Vrex standing in the corridor. She had delivered her message. Now it was up to the galaxy to decide what to do with it. 1 year had passed since the Draxian War ended. The galaxy had changed in ways no one could have predicted. Ambassador Park sat in her usual seat in the council chamber, but now when she spoke, everyone listened. The dismissive attitudes were gone. Humanity had earned respect through strength. The current session was discussing a border dispute between two minor species. It had been dragging on for months with no resolution. Park raised her hand to speak. Counselor Vrex recognized her immediately. Ambassador Park, the Council welcomes your input. Thank you, Counselor. I have reviewed the evidence from both parties. The solution seems clear. Species A has historical claims to the disputed territory, but Species B has current settlements there. I suggest partitioning the territory with a neutral buffer zone monitored by Council peacekeepers. Both species keep their primary interests, and the buffer zone prevents future conflicts. The two disputing species looked at each other, then nodded. We find this acceptable, they said almost simultaneously. Park smiled slightly. A year ago, her suggestions would have been ignored. Now her proposals carried weight. The galaxy had learned that humans understood conflict resolution. They had proven they could end wars decisively. That gave their peaceful suggestions credibility. After the session ended, Park returned to human territory aboard a diplomatic shuttle. She looked out the window at the stars and reflected on how much had changed. Human space had expanded significantly. 5 new colonies were thriving. Trade agreements were signed with dozens of species, and most importantly, no one threatened human settlements anymore. She arrived at New Horizons Station, humanity's largest construction in space. The station served as both a trade hub and military headquarters. Admiral Kim was waiting for her in his office, reviewing reports on a holographic display. Ambassador, welcome back. How was the council session? Kim asked. Productive. They actually listen to us now. It is amazing what respect follows from demonstrated capability. Kim nodded. Any new security concerns? None. In fact, 3 smaller species have requested defensive alliances with humanity. They want our protection against potential aggressors. That is good. We should accept. Building alliances makes everyone safer. What about the Draxians? Park pulled up a report. Their recovery is progressing well. The civilian economy is stabilizing. Most of our peacekeeping forces have withdrawn. Colonel Lee reports that the remaining troops should be able to leave within 6 months. And their attitude toward us? Surprisingly positive. High Commander Zeph has been working with our military advisors. He says the Draxians learned valuable lessons about the difference between aggression and true strength. Some even view the war as necessary correction to their empire's course. Kim leaned back in his chair. 1 year ago, he had ordered the destruction of Draxian military power. It had been necessary, but not something he took pleasure in. Knowing that the Draxians were recovering and learning from their mistakes gave him satisfaction. Humanity did not want enemies. They wanted a peaceful galaxy where everyone could prosper. Across the galaxy on a Draxian world, High Commander Zeph walked through the rebuilt military academy. It was much smaller now, focused on defensive tactics rather than conquest. Human military advisors had helped design the new curriculum. The students learned strategy but also ethics and the true cost of warfare. Zeph stopped to watch a class studying the war with humanity. The instructor was showing tactical displays of human fleet movements. Notice the precision, the instructor explained. Every move calculated, every target selected for maximum strategic impact. This is professional military operations at the highest level. A young student raised a hand. Instructor, do you think we could ever fight like humans? The instructor paused thoughtfully. Possibly. But that is not our goal. We should learn from their skill, but also from their restraint. Humans could have destroyed our worlds. They chose not to. They targeted only military capability. That shows wisdom. True strength is knowing when not to use your power. Zeph nodded in agreement. He had fought humans and lost badly. But in defeat, he had learned more about warfare than in 30 victories over weaker opponents. The humans had taught the Draxian Empire a lesson they would never forget. On Earth, at the new Galactic Military Academy, Colonel Lee stood before a classroom of officers from 20 different species. She was teaching a course on combined arms tactics. Her students came from across the galaxy, eager to learn from human military experience. The key principle, Lee explained, is that war must serve political goals. You do not fight for glory or pride. You fight to protect your people and secure lasting peace. Every military action must have a clear objective and an exit strategy. Endless wars benefit no one. An alien officer asked, "Colonel, humans seem to excel at warfare. Does that worry you? That your species is so good at violence?" Lee considered the question seriously. "Yes, it does worry me. Humanity's history is full of terrible wars. We have killed each other in the millions, but that history also taught us the value of peace. We are good at warfare because we have practiced it for thousands of years. We are committed to peace because we know the alternative too well. You cannot truly value peace until you have experienced war. So your advice to us is?" Another student asked. "Prepare for war so thoroughly that no one dares start one. Build your defenses. Train your forces. Make the cost of attacking you unthinkably high. Then use that strength to maintain peace. The strongest warrior is one who never has to fight because everyone knows they would win." Director Han worked from his office at Human Intelligence Headquarters, coordinating with intelligence services across the galaxy. The old isolation and competition between species had decreased. The Draxian War had shown everyone that shared intelligence made everyone safer. Han's networks now included partners from 50 different species. His assistant brought him a report. "Director, we have confirmed intelligence that the Vortan Syndicate was planning to raid colonies in Sector 9. The Council has been informed and is sending peacekeepers. Good. Preventing conflicts is always better than winning them. Make sure our partners know we appreciate their cooperation on this." Han looked at his display showing a map of known space. Red markers indicated potential threats. Green markers showed allied species. Blue markers were neutral parties. The map was mostly green and blue now. The galaxy was genuinely more peaceful than before humanity arrived. The threat of human-style total warfare had made aggressive species reconsider their actions. Admiral Kim stood at a memorial on Earth, dedicated to the 17 civilians killed in the Draxian attack on Harmony Colony. Fresh flowers lay at the base. He came here every month to remember why humanity maintained such powerful forces. Not for conquest, not for glory, but to ensure that no one else would die because humanity was too weak to protect them. A ceremony was taking place. Families of the victims had gathered. Kim had been asked to speak. He stepped to the podium and looked at the assembled people. "We remember 17 names today, 17 people who died because someone thought humanity would not respond to violence. They were wrong. We responded, and we made sure that no one would make that mistake again. Some people say our response was too strong, that we should have fought a limited war, negotiated a settlement, and accepted the loss of our people as the price of peace. I disagree completely. The price of peace is not accepting the murder of innocents. The price of peace is being strong enough that no one dares murder innocents. Humanity understands war better than most species because we have fought so many. We know its horror. We know its cost. We know that every war creates widows and orphans and broken families. That is why we work so hard to prevent wars. But when war comes to us, when someone threatens our people, we do not fight halfway. We fight to win completely so the war ends forever. These 17 people did not die in vain. Their deaths taught the galaxy that humanity cannot be threatened. Now our colonies are safe. Our people can build their futures without fear. That is the memorial we give to the fallen, a galaxy where the innocent are protected by the certain knowledge that aggressors will be stopped." The ceremony ended. Kim walked away slowly, thinking about the future. Humanity had proven its strength. Now they needed to prove their wisdom. Building alliances, sharing knowledge, helping the Council become stronger and more effective, using their military power to prevent wars rather than fight them. Later that day, Admiral Kim and Ambassador Park met on the observation deck of New Horizons Station. They looked out at Earth, hanging in space like a blue jewel. It was peaceful from this distance. No sign of the wars and struggles that had shaped humanity. "We have come far," Park said quietly. "From rejected applicants to full Council members. From dismissed primitives to respected military power. The galaxy will never underestimate humanity again," Kim agreed. "But that is not our greatest achievement." "What is?" "That we prove strength and restraint can coexist. We showed we could annihilate enemies, but we also showed we would choose peace when possible. The galaxy feared us for a moment. Now they respect us. Fear fades. Respect lasts," Park smiled. She looked at the data pad showing trade agreements, alliance requests, and cooperation proposals. Dozens of species wanted to work with humanity now.